Excellent product packaging is a great way to stand out from other products on Amazon. Watch this video to learn the do's and don'ts of packaging design. You'll also see a number of real-life examples to inspire you for your products. I'm delighted to be joined by Mariska Harris, a branding expert from OutlineMatic.com. Hello, Mariska.
Hello, David. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you for inviting us to join your podcast.
You're welcome. I think we can get started with the presentation.
Okay, sure thing. Let me share my screen with you and then we can run through everything.
Sounds good.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, so the branding tools available to Amazon sellers are basically your logo, your packaging design, your inserts, and your photos in EBC. Now, all of this together builds a strong brand for your product. Now, selling today on Amazon, it's a very competitive market and you need to build a strong brand in order to make sure that your product sells well. So for packaging, basically how packaging will help you in selling products is it will help you to let your product stand out in a listing or retail space. So say for instance that you are using your packaging in your actual listing and you have your product next to your packaging. It's going to look quite nice when someone scrolls through the listings and that's definitely going to grab your attention. Also what packaging helps for is to make your customer feel excited and confident about their purchase. Now, not only when they've purchased the product, but actually when that package arrives at their house and then they open it and they're so excited. It's not just having a poly bag and with an insert inside. It's like actually having this nice packaging and you can't wait to open it.
Yeah,
and we're packaged. Sorry, I
totally agree on that point. And I just want to reiterate, I bought a product this week on Amazon UK. I was excited about it and it arrived in a poly bag. And immediately I'm just thinking, oh no, they've probably cut corners here. What other corners have they cut? So it really does have an impact from a customer point of view for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, cutting corners. Now, it's not necessarily like a bad thing. Always, you have to start somewhere. But immediately, like you said, when you see something arriving in a poly bag, you're like, you get much more excited when it arrives in a nice package. So and that's the other thing. What makes the customer feel confident is when you have it on your listing and it actually comes to your house actually looking like that. And now the other thing that packaging really helps for is it's more difficult to hijack your listing. And the reason for that is, like I said, having your packaging on your listing, people can't just copy your product exactly as is. Well, if they buy it, they might be able to, but I don't think it's not as if, they can see the stuff on your listing and they go and copy your product. Yeah. Now, the one thing where packaging can help it really helps increase your sales. So there's this, you'll see the link below, the image of the sweet potato Einstein Pets snacks. Yeah. I really like to refer to this article because they did a packaging revamp in 2 years after they started their brand. And in like the first month, it gave them a 200% boost in sales. Now that's something that's pretty extraordinary. And it's something as simple as having nice packaging. They already had their logo and they already had their brand established, but they did an overhaul on their packaging. And it really helped increase their sales.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to go through packaging do's and don'ts. Okay, so this is something that in many areas online can be seen as gray areas because you never get a proper answer of what you are able to do and what you can't do. So you always have to try and keep with Amazon's terms of sales. But things that we found that are important in packaging is that you have to be bold. You don't have to be colorful to be bold. You can have simple plain packaging with this big slogan and an image or something, and that's being bold because you're being different. And then you have to bring out your brand in packaging. That's very important. People recognize a brand. A brand is something that's gonna bring loyalty to your brand. So, and then always make use of your own photos. That's very important. If you don't have photos, you then make use of your packaging, maybe in a lifestyle photo. You can always edit that in. And then, yeah.
Mariska, you mean it's an effective sales tool to show your packaging in the photos, right? Because it's going to allow people to see that you have nice packaging, and as a result, it's probably a nice product too.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so if that's also goes back to where you make your customer feel confident with their purchase is when you have your packaging in your photos, and when that arrives at their house, they're like, oh, it actually looks like that. That's awesome. It's exciting. Yeah, and then you have to be functional with your packaging. A lot of people lately have started to do this actually, where your packaging, they like it when packaging is sustainable because, with all the plastic going around, and people like to be friendly to the environment. So if your packaging can be functional, for example, you can use it as a gift box. You can actually take that packaging just as is and give it to someone as a gift. That's being functional. If you can maybe have your packaging later to store something inside, or even just having your packaging be pretty or good enough to store your product back when it's not in use, which is also a good thing. Other examples of functional packaging, for example, are these little coffee pots that are made out of cardboard, and then after you've made your coffee, you can actually go and plant that little capsule, and there's going to be a plant that grows from that. I think that's very clever. Doing small things like that, being that bold, it can really help with your brand. And then on your packaging, sell your product. Now, selling your product can mean a lot of things, but on your packaging, if you take, for example, there are two products on a shelf. I know we're talking about online now, but just to bring out the example a bit better is sell your product with nice packaging, with a few highlighted features like, oh, this is high quality silicone, it's ergonomic, it's functional, it has multiple uses. If you can state all of that on your packaging, and it's next to something or below something else that's, just plain in a poly bag, you'll definitely stand out, like, in that area.
I totally agree.
And then with the don'ts, I'm just going to run through them quickly because it's actually something that's very simple, is don't copy your competitors. Don't use unnecessary information on your packaging, by the meaning of don't clutter your packaging with a bunch of information that people aren't going to read. Rather use that space for something nice, something visually appealing. And then don't use unlicensed photos, and don't have too big or too small packaging. Your packaging has to accompany and complement your product. And then one thing that's very important, and that's why I left it to last, is weak packaging. Never do weak packaging, because then your product's going to come damaged to your customer, and Amazon does not like that at all. So that's very important. stay away from weak packaging.
Nice.
Okay, so these are a few of our packaging designs that we've done. This is a simple example of how your brand can come through on different types of packaging. So you can easily recognize this brand, the few design elements that are used here, and then how a use of color differentiates the different flavors or different products, which is quite nice, because if you scroll through your listings and there's a bunch of these images that all look the same and have that same constant feel throughout, it looks nice and it makes people want to be loyal to your brand. They see something and they want it, and there's another one, they want that as well.
Yeah, it's particularly striking. And I think if you were looking at this brand and these products, immediately my mind would think, well, this is a premium product. And maybe it's it could be a private label and similar to other products in the market, but just based on the packaging alone, I would think as a customer, this is going to be a really top quality product.
Yes, exactly. And that's as simple as, a strong brand and nice packaging. Another example of that is the Yeti double-walled stainless steel cup. It's $30 online, and then there's another steel cup, exactly the same thing. It's just not the Yeti brand. It's exactly the same thing for $17. People are going to buy the Yeti brand because they trust the brand, the packaging looks nice, and they feel loyal to the brand. So that's exactly why you have to build a brand. Okay, now this packaging that we have here is basically, it's aimed at females that like to organize and, have little stickers on everything. Yeah, so this is just a nice example of how you can also make use of a pattern on the inside of a box. That's like a nice little surprise when you open the box and you see this nice pattern, which is really appealing to your customer. Okay, here is exactly the same thing, whereas this pattern is only on the inside, so it's a nice little surprise. And this is for educational products. Is actually a subscription box, but it's nice and colorful. It's gender neutral. It's simple, but it's appealing, and it makes you want to buy that subscription box. If you take a look at all the subscription boxes that's available at the moment, you'll see that they are very bold with their packaging. They like to make use of lots of colors. They want to excite the customer looking at the outside of the box. It's like a child getting a lucky packet. They can't wait to see what's on the inside of that box.
So if you were doing research then for your own products or brand, if you look at subscription boxes in your niche, you can probably find a couple of nice ideas, which is good to know.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now this next product is aimed at males. It's a hygienic product, but it also has to appeal to females. It has to bring out the natural elements in the product and also the strong aspect of it being aimed again to males. So that's why we made use of the black overall color here, and then bringing out all the strong elements, the things that you want to focus on with that nice green color. And it's usually hygiene products is something men would just like, they're just like, oh, it's for females. But that's why we designed it in this way, is so that it will actually be appealing to men and to women as well. And here's just a simple example of how you can make use of the same design, a simple design, a nice pattern, but with different colors again to show your different flavors. And it's appealing, it's colorful, it's bold, and it's definitely going to stand out in a listing.
Very nice.
Okay, and for this example I threw in here, it's very plain and simple, but it's to show you how you can make use of one color on a normal plain rough raw cardboard or craft cardboard, and then doing a nice illustration on the corner and having it look almost 3D. But it's such a nice, it gives such a nice eco-friendly feel to it. So that's kind of the nice thing about this packaging.
And that marks the end of an awesome session on packaging design. Thanks so much to Mariska. As a bonus, she's kindly offering you a 10% discount on Outlinematic's packaging and branding services. If you're interested, go to outlinematic.com and use coupon code FBA15. The link will be in the description. And finally, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.